The film begins on the planet Clintar, the home of the symbiotes. Their creator, Knull, played by Andy Serkis, is imprisoned there due to his brutal and fearsome nature. He is in search of the Codex, which would grant him freedom and enable him to unleash chaos across the universe. To locate the symbiote that possesses the Codex, Knull dispatches his minions, the Xenophages. Meanwhile, in Earth 616, Eddie Brock and Venom find themselves intoxicated in Mexico. The very portals that Knull opened to release the Xenophages reappear, pulling them back to their own universe, directly in front of the same bartender, Cristo Fernandez. Venom attempts to prepare a drink until they notice that Eddie is now a wanted criminal for the alleged murder of Patrick Mulligan, played by Stephen Graham. With no means to return to San Francisco, Eddie decides to head back to New York City, despite being banned from there. He believes he has enough incriminating information on the judge to clear his name. As they leave, Eddie and Venom hear sounds of distress and chaos, leading them to a hidden warehouse where dogs are being kept for dogfighting. 4 thugs running the operation confront Eddie and threaten his life, but he allows Venom to take charge. Venom dispatches the thugs, tossing them around before releasing the dogs to exact their revenge. Ultimately, Venom uses his tentacles to grab each thug and devours their heads. Eddie and Venom free the remaining dogs and begin their journey toward New York, unaware that a xenophage is trailing them. General Rex Strickland, Chiwetel Ejiofor, is called by his enigmatic superior to investigate the situation involving Eddie and Venom. He visits the bar where the two were seen, as they left behind a sample of venom. Strickland interrogates the bartender about what he witnessed before instructing his men to bring Eddie in. Meanwhile, in Nevada, we encounter Dr. Teddy Payne, Juno Temple, who is haunted by a childhood nightmare in which her twin brother died during a thunderstorm. Teddy was struck by lightning, and the electrical current passed through her, electrocuting her brother as he held her hand. She receives a call summoning her to Area 51, which is scheduled to be decommissioned in 3 days. There, she meets her colleague, Sadie, nicknamed Christmas, Clark Bacco, along with Strickland. Teddy's lab is examining the other symbiotes that arrived on Earth around the same time as Venom. The trio then visits a containment cell holding Mulligan, who is bonded with the symbiote known as Toxin. Speaking through Mulligan, Toxin warns them about the danger posed by Knull. On their way to New York, Venom compels Eddie to cling to a plane. They come under attack from a xenophage, but manage to send it into the turbine, though it regenerates once it hits the ground. Venom then instructs Eddie to jump out and parachute down, landing in a remote area. Venom finally reveals the truth about Knull and the reason they are being pursued. The Codex is created when a symbiote merges its life force with that of its host, which occurs if the symbiote saves the host from dying. This has already happened, as Venom revived Eddie after he was impaled by Riot. The Xenophages can sense the Codex when Venom is fully formed, so he chooses to stay hidden within Eddie for the moment. They then spot a horse, which Venom possesses to enable them to move more swiftly. Strickland dispatches his mercenaries to locate Eddie and Venom. The duo finds themselves cornered by a river and must swim for their lives. Separated from Venom, Eddie faces off against 2 mercenaries and is compelled to shoot one in self-defense, which leaves him feeling guilty. Venom eventually reunites with Eddie and saves him just before they plunge over a waterfall. Before the mercenaries can finish them off, the xenophage arrives, tearing through the mercs like a wood chipper, providing Eddie and Venom with the chance to escape. Toxin reveals his true form to Teddy and Sadie, warning them that Venom carries the Codex, and that as long as he remains alive, the entire world is at risk. Meanwhile, Strickland, furious over the loss of his men, decides to pursue Eddie and Venom himself. Eddie continues his journey until he encounters a hippie family called the Moons: Martin, Reese Ifans, Nova, Alana Ubach, and their children Echo, Hala Finley, and Leaf, Dash McLeod. They offer Eddie food and agree to drive him as far as Vegas, as they're on their way to see Area 51 before it shuts down. They hit the road together, singing Space Oddity as night falls. Venom reflects to Eddie about how he might have made a good family man, especially when he connects with Leaf by reassuring him that there won't be any frightening aliens around. The family drops off Eddie and Venom in Vegas before going their separate ways. Eddie attempts to enter a casino, but is refused because of his casual attire. Venom headbutts the doorman, knocking him out, and they then find another drunken man, incapacitating him and taking his suit. Once inside, Eddie and Venom encounter Mrs. Chen, Peggy Lou, who invites them to her room to clean up. She persuades Venom to come out and dance with her, inadvertently allowing the xenophage to track them down. It flees when Venom vanishes, but this gives Strickland and his henchmen the chance to capture Eddie and Venom after separating them. The Moons arrive at Area 51 just as Eddie regains consciousness there. Strickland drags Eddie from his cell with the intent to personally execute him, believing that either he or Venom must die to destroy the Codex. However, Venom has latched onto Sadie and quickly jumps back to Eddie to save him. The xenophage appears, with Toxin momentarily holding it off to give Venom a chance to escape before it devours Toxin as well. Meanwhile, Teddy and Sadie free the other symbiotes, who attach themselves to various scientists, revealing their true forms. A fierce battle ensues between the symbiotes and the ever-regenerating xenophage, which manages to kill some of them. The xenophage breaks free from the facility, witnessed by the Moons. Eddie rushes to guide them to safety just as the xenophage summons reinforcements. Sadie, transformed into the symbiote Lasher, leads the charge against the others. Eddie saves the Moons from falling off a tower. Venom lures the xenophages away from attacking Lasher by guiding them into a kill zone with the help of Strickland, who switches his allegiance after an attempt to kill a xenophage results in the accidental death of one of his men. They successfully blow up 2 xenophages, while Venom rides a motorcycle and decapitates another. Unfortunately, more xenophages arrive, overwhelming them, and one kills Lasher after she separates from Sadie. Aware of the gravity of the situation, Eddie and Venom understand what needs to be done and resolve to face it together. Eddie and Venom step out into the open to draw the xenophages toward them. Venom engulfs all of them within himself and then pushes Eddie out to a safe distance. Strickland activates a container of acid that showers down on Venom and the xenophages. Just before Strickland detonates a grenade, as he too is being splashed with acid, Venom tells Eddie, "Bye for now," and shields him. The explosion obliterates the entire area, ensuring the xenophages are destroyed for good. With the Codex gone, Null is forced back into his prison. Teddy activates her own symbiote, Agony, and uses her super speed to whisk herself and Sadie to safety before the explosion hits. Eddie awakens in a hospital, where a federal official informs him that due to his actions, his criminal record has been wiped clean, allowing him to return to a normal life as long as he keeps his experiences a secret. Eddie finally makes his way to New York City, visiting the Statue of Liberty, as Venom had always wanted. As he sits and takes in the view, he takes a moment to remember his best friend.